A number of years ago, I was invited to a wedding. And interestingly enough, the bride's name was Cana. So, of course, the couple chose the gospel reading that we have today. Now, really, when we go to a wedding, it's very uplifting, hopefully, and it's quite inspiring to see this couple that will unite with each other, to be inspired by God, who has initiated the love between these two people. And God will continue to pour grace into the hearts of these two people so that we can be encouraged by them. Marriage is meant to be a gift for society. So, in today's gospel reading, we have to see this more than a miracle that happened 2,000 years ago, because then what does it do for us, or how do we apply this text to ourselves? So the key part of this reading is in the first line, on the third day. Obviously, this points to Jesus' resurrection. Through the death and resurrection of Jesus, Jesus has made it possible, has awakened us that we are part of a wedding banquet with our God. And one day we will celebrate this with our God face to face and all our loved ones who have passed on before us. So really what Jesus does by turning this water into wine is, this water that was for the ritual purification, is he transformed religion. The religion prior to this was about following the law. We have to follow the law, because if we don't follow the law, God is going to get us. Not really a good religion. And, no matter how many times I'm being purified, I have to continuously be purified. I mean, it's just a never-ending situation. And so we're going to set the law aside, and we're going to set this ritual purification ceremonies aside, and we are going to celebrate our religion, which is one of a wedding banquet. Jesus Christ has come to us because God wants to have a love affair with each and every one of us. And this is really what's emphasized as well in our first reading for the prophet Isaiah, is there's a similar pattern for the people in the Old Testament. God initiates a relationship with the people. The people are good for a little while, and then the people become unfaithful. They go their own way. They worship other gods or idols. Then there's exile, or the people become like a widow. And then God intervenes once again, renews this marriage bond, and then the people are once again in this love affair. And so Jesus is trying to awaken us to that our religion ought to be a wedding banquet, one where we delight in loving God. I've often heard people say that it's our Sunday obligation to go to church. That makes it sound like a duty. It's more of, I want to respond to the God who loves me by going to church. Even if any sacrament I celebrate is my love response to God, but it's God who has initiated that love. And what a great gift that is. Now, in this love affair, what a gift that God will act in us and through us, as our second reading points out. We've all been given gifts. God has given us gifts, and these gifts are to serve the Lord, or that is to say, to serve the common good, and it's God who acts through us. Wow, the God of the universe is present in each one of us and active in each one of us. How many times are we actually awakened to this action of God in our hearts and in our lives? It's quite amazing. But it's a gift, and it's always important that the gifts we've been given is not to serve our own personal gain or to be all proud and whatnot, but it's to serve the common good. Every gift that we've been given, every strength that we have, every grace that we've been given is meant to be of service to others, or meant to allow God's grace to flow through us to others. And so what a blessing that is, because God truly does want to have a love affair with each of us. So as we gather around the table, Lord, this is a wedding banquet that we come to, this table of God's generosity, God's love, to be renewed, to be restored, so we can invite others into this love affair with God, and we can encourage each other with God's goodness and God's love.